Hey fellow ServiceNow devotees, get ready to embark on a journey through the fascinating realm of ServiceNow with none other than the service docs themselves. I'm James Downs.
And I'm Rush here. Whether you're new to ServiceNow, pre-Aspen veteran, or just a curious soul, we're here to bring you ServiceNow curiosities, exhilarating interviews, and don't forget the infamous A to Z game.
But mostly, it's about the random ramblings of two middle-aged guys with a funny story to tell, right?
Yeah, true. The ducks are ready, the mics are on, and we can't wait to have you join us. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Service Ducks podcast. So, in today's episode, we are, well, it's James and I, standard setup, but we're also joined by none other than Lauren McManamon. Have I said your name right? Is that the right way to say it?
You've been practicing that all week, haven't you?
It was pretty good. It was pretty darn good. I've had it butchered in a million ways, so anything that's relatively close, I'm like, heck yeah.
We're going to talk about, Lauren, you don't actually know what we're going to talk about yet, do you?
Yeah, I saw the general outline.
Rundown of the general agenda, if we follow agendas.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to go through. Lauren is a dev advocate, so we're going to talk about what a dev advocate is. We're going to talk about, see if you can give us your road to become a dev advocate, because some of us might want a gig.
Yeah.
Then we've got a section at the end around, we're going to do what we're now calling this section James's silly question. Can't think of a better name, so I'm going to go with that. Yeah. We've got an alphabet quiz at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that one?
I have. I've heard of the infamous alphabet quiz. Let's see how I do.
You know what? We've done that a few times, right? And it's amusing that everyone sits there going, yeah, I don't care. But as soon as you start, everyone sits
the competitive mode 100% comes in.
Of course.
But we're also going to talk about, we can't really skip over the fact that we had the Vancouver webinar yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this. So we want to talk a little bit about that and get Lauren's top picks for the Vancouver release.
Fair enough. Okay. I'm excited to talk about it more. Now that I finally can, I won't get in trouble. So that's nice.
No more leaks.
No more leaks.
So Lauren, let's start off with what is a dev advocate? What is a dev advocate? What do you do? What's a day in the life of?
So a developer advocate at ServiceNow, at least, because it does vary from company to company. Like sometimes they're under the sales team, sometimes they're under the IT team. At ServiceNow, they are part of the marketing team. And we focus on ensuring the success and overall well-being of the developers for our platform. So in this case, ServiceNow's platform. So we do that in a variety of ways. I think the most obvious at the moment is enablement. So like y'all said, we just kicked off the Vancouver content period. So we'll be putting out a lot of enablement content. So that's one way. And the other ways are encouraging a sense of community. So we help reinforce the success of the developer meetups, the MVP program, a lot of the stuff at Knowledge and our larger conferences. And there's a lot of other smaller projects we work on, but those are the two biggest, I would say, pillars, I would say, are community and enablement.
So coming back to the content section, so there's no hiding the fact that you're on social media, right? So you've got on multiple different platforms, right? So shall I try and list them if I can? Twitter? Am I allowed to say Twitter anymore? X.
Yeah, X, whatever.
X,
yep. LinkedIn.
Yes.
TikTok. You're on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you on? You laugh. I actually, that's you go by the handle of Posh Programmer.
Yeah, that's me on most places.
Is there a story behind that?
I think in college I was looking for something alliterative that didn't have any numbers in it, and that was the one I got it on everything. I wasn't even using it for the longest time. I got it on Twitter, I got it on YouTube, I got it on everything. Some of them are completely dormant, but I do use the one for Instagram and I think Twitter. Actually, I haven't posted on Instagram in 3 years. So I shouldn't.
I was going to say I didn't list Instagram, but I bring the content side up because I know with new releases, you've got a content schedule, which includes things like blogs, videos, webinars, podcasts, etc., etc. But something I want to ask you, right, around your content creation. And I think I said this to you before, but when you do your videos, do you edit this or is it ServiceNow editing your videos?
So if anyone on our team is putting out a video, it is self-edited. The
Mhm.
ServiceNow team is very small. It's
Yeah.
just Chuck, Tomasi, Earl Duque, Prana, Baga, and I. And I think if we asked or put in more of like a whine behind it, we could probably find someone to edit it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
us. But right now it's a completely like
Yeah.
self-organized effort.
See, I asked that because your videos, the editing on it is really on point. The quality is crisp. It's very good. It's very good produced. And there's one other thing I've noticed, and you're
Yeah.
doing it today, right? Do you match your glasses with the backing lighting?
I literally, so I got these glasses right before Knowledge. I had a pair that I had had since I was 18 and they were falling apart. And the gentleman that worked in my optometrist office, he like hard sold me on these. And I was like, they're kind of loud. And he's like, no, like I think they'll really work and like they're really eye catching. I was like, okay. And then I wore them at Knowledge. And so they became kind of like a recognizable
Yeah.
piece of like it's
Yeah.
like Chuck's bow
Yeah.
tie
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
not to that
Yeah, you
extent.
find yourself becoming this kind of character and, someone who's known and, like you say, Chuck's bow tie. We talk a lot about building our own kind of like personal profiles. We've been talking about
Yes.
a lot with like next gen and those coming new into service now and how important it is to build your own brand, I guess, or promote
Yeah.
yourself. So yeah, I can see that
What
working really well.
What do you think your thing is then, James?
What my thing is, I don't know.
Yeah.
The wheel.
The orange jumper.
Ducks. Yeah.
Yeah, the orange jumper. Lauren, you haven't seen the orange jumper. It looks like a tango man.
Yeah.
Well, the funny part is that I didn't have these glasses on at the airport after Knowledge, and I put them on, and then the person next to me was like, "Oh, I've seen you all of the conference." I was
the
like,
glasses, no idea.
I guess it was like my Superman moment of like, I guess
Yeah.
they really do change like how you look.
But no, it's fantastic. I was dying to ask you that because every time I was like, "You got purple glasses on. You got purple lighting. Is that intentional? How do you do it?"
Right. Are you going to mention the fact that you've installed your lights today, Ross?
I knew they look really
he's got
good.
these lovely LEDs.
Shall I be honest
He's
with
very
you?
proud.
I've got new lights up here. This is a podcast. It's not very good for radio, is it? But I'd like to say it wasn't to kind of blend in with your backing lighting. It totally was. I was there at lunchtime making sure it all fit. Anyway,
It looks really nice.
it's working. I can check. No, let's move on. Let's move swiftly on. So if you haven't yet caught Lauren on socials at Posh Programmer, really good videos are on point. Coming back to the dev advocate thing. So what was your road to become a dev advocate? So if James wants to become a dev advocate, how does he do it? What does he have to do?
I do.
Well, I would say first and foremost, get experience in the platform or software you'd like to advocate for. So I started off as a developer. I worked for a company for about 2 years. And for a lot of those 2 years, I was their only ServiceNow developer. So it's very common. I don't think we like to talk about it as much, but it's pretty common that when people start off on ServiceNow, it's usually like some person's thing, not a team's thing. And that person is kind of judge, jury, and executioner, and that was me, aside from like the oversight from my boss. But the bonus of that is like you get a tremendous amount of experience. So that company was fantastic, but it was very like horizontally organized. There was not a lot of places you could go. So I had reached out to my ServiceNow like rep, and I was like, hey, is there like a job where I could like talk about ServiceNow and its tech? Like I wouldn't even know what it's called. And he was like, oh, it's solution consulting. I was like, I've never heard of that. He's like, you know that person that always comes with me? I'm like, yeah. He's like, the person that knows how the software works? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's their job. Oh, okay. So when I joined ServiceNow, it was under solution consulting. I think that helped develop a lot of the skills that I use for developer advocacy. I think it taught me a lot of presentation skills and like how to communicate with audiences of variable sizes, right? Like doing a keynote is like very different from having like a one-on-one intimate conversation with someone, like a coaching session. And so like you learn a lot in that regard there. So I'd already known the software. I learned the soft skills of like how to translate a message to a crowd of different sizes. And then together, I think those kind of represent a lot of the responsibilities of like an advocate.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about those kind of soft skills, and kind of going back to the messages that we've been given to a lot of the new starters in ServiceNow, and new devs and new admins, and we've really been trying to push that, and we know that's some part of the the next gen programs and the programs of those involved with that, but I know that for us, especially because we come from like a service desk background, so the way that we've kind of got into service now is we've kind of done that kind of hard graft of working on the service desk. We kind of worked with the software, and then we've got in through consultancy through that way. Do you kind of miss that kind of client interaction at the moment? Do you kind of lose that being senior like development advocate, or do you still have that that kind of interaction with customers and projects and that sort of side of things?
I would say I actually probably get more connection with developers in this job. I think in
Yeah.
sales, right, you're dealing with a lot of like executives and things like that,
Yeah.
which is a different type of
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm actually a lot more at ease on the developer advocacy team because I feel like, oh, these are my people,
Business
right?
skill.
I'm back
Yeah.
with my crowd of people.
Yeah. And would you have you done the CMA course? Because a lot of them sort of skills and speaking to that sort of levels are being taught through the CMA course. And I don't want to rehash stuff that we went over last week with Jeremy through CMA and advocacy
Let's
for
do it.
that. But
Do it.
No, I haven't done the CMA program.
wow.
I've seen so many people go through it. It's really piqued my interest, but unfortunately, I haven't. I don't know if it was around when I was a customer because I did like the certified admin and certified dev. So I
Yeah.
feel like that would have been on a natural path. But I'm not sure it was either very very new, or I don't know if my company would have paid for it, so it wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
Before you joined ServiceNow, and you said something that struck my interest when you mentioned that, like most people, it became your thing. ServiceNow became your thing when you were in the customer environment, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that James and I have spoke about a few times now, and it comes back to passion for the platform and the passion for what we're doing. Jeremy mentioned it. We mentioned it before in terms of our top tips for people that kind of want to bag a job and display passion. How do you display passion? And I think it's interesting that you say it became my thing, because I had the same thing, right? I was on the service desk, and then I got handed this tool and said, well, you're looking after this now.
Yeah.
And I think when something's yours, you become a lot more passionate for it, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just interesting that you should pick up on, or I'll pick up on when you said that, because it kind of resonates with what we've been saying and follows it through. And it certainly comes across when you do things like your presentations that you did yesterday in terms of your Vancouver webinar.
Yeah, it's so amazing to see. I think when I joined like the community, I think we were on, I think it was Geneva. So to see it transform as much as it has in the past like 5 or 6 years is truly like a remarkable thing. Because I get a lot of questions. I think either today or next week or whatever is my 6th anniversary at ServiceNow.
Okay.
I think a lot of my like friends are like, I can't believe you've been at a job that long. And I would say I think a lot of that is a huge testament to how much change the platform has showcased to keep me like really interested and really passionate about it. I think that's a huge reason.
So here's a question, which we may or may leave in or out, depending on how you answer.
Depending on if I say cut that.
Okay, anyway. So have you got any aspirations to kind of move in different areas within ServiceNow? So dev advocate now, a lot of, I know Brad Tilton, for example, goes on to product owner, product manager. But he's progressed in that way. Is that something you want to do? You got thought about that? Or?
Well, I think the problem with me is I'm still relatively new to marketing. So I only joined the team like a little bit over a year ago. And so I'm still kind of figuring out the overall territory. If anything, what's more enticing to me is relevance to different types of geolocations. Like I'm extremely passionate about international business. So if anything would be a huge motivating factor, would be getting to do more in other like countries and stuff like that. That would be amazing.
So have you traveled a lot? Is that something you want to come and work in the UK?
I'd love that. That'd be so fun. I did my study abroad in Scotland. So I value travel probably more than anything else. I think it's offered me the most like value in my life. I love traveling.
Right,
Last
James.
Scottish question. Have you tried these 3 things? Have you tried, first of all, Iron Brew?
Yes.
Do you like it or not?
I thought it was fine.
Okay. Battered Mars bars?
Yes.
Yes.
Love
That's
them.
good. Oh,
Yes.
great. Okay. Last one. What was it? Buckfast.
No, what's that?
No. Oh, you don't want that.
You're like,
It's
correct
a
answer.
horrible, very strong, like red wine style drink. Really cheap, really horrible.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's probably why I'm not a big red wine fan. So that's probably why I lucked out.
Yeah.
If you could pick anywhere in the world you haven't been to yet, where would you go?
That I haven't been to yet. Ooh.
Don't
That
sound.
is-
You make it sound like you've been everywhere when you said that.
No, it's just
Done that, done this.
I've never been to Italy. I'd really like to see Italy.
Oh, that is
I'd
stunning.
really like to go.
Bit of advice: go to Rome. Rome's my
Rome?
favorite place in the. Yeah, I went on a cruise and we went to Rome, Florence, and Pompeii.
Oh, that's
Pompeii's
so
a good shout.
cool.
Yeah.
Stunning, absolutely stunning.
My difficulty is that I've been to certain places that I've loved so much. It's hard to pick up because I think my favorite 3 are Japan, Scotland, and Iceland. I love those 3 so much.
All
so
right,
it's hard to beat them.
See, I grew up in Scotland, so I would advise against it.
I loved it. It was my favorite. I was staying abroad there, so I have a very like fond memories of my like 6 weeks there.
Right.
It was the best.
Where was the last place you went?
Last place I went was Paris. I just went to Paris.
Ooh.
I went in early June, so it wasn't like chaotically busy or hot yet.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite place I went was Monet's garden. That was amazing. The biggest letdown was the Louvre. And I will say
Really?
it was the way it was organized. So I
Yeah.
had never been to the Louvre. All I knew is that it's one of the biggest museums, if not the biggest on earth.
Yeah.
And I made a map of like all the artwork I wanted to see. Cause I'm like, I'm a big art nerd. And I knew that if I didn't, I'd miss stuff. And then as I'm making the map, I'm realizing everything is in only one of the 3 wings, which I'm like, oh, it's all in that one wing. So any major art piece you think of with the Louvre, whether it's obviously the Mona Lisa, the Venus de Milo, the crowning of Napoleon, the death of Marat, all of it is in one wing. So no, even if you're trying to avoid the Mona Lisa crowd, you're stuck with them because everyone goes to that wing. Oh, it was intense. And that place was hot. It was hot in there.
To do it. If you go to Paris, you have to go and see it.
Yeah, and I will say I got there. I had the ticket booked for the opening time on the least busy day. And it was like the freaking Amazing Race trying to get to the Mona Lisa first. Like people were like running. And I was like, this is amazing.
Elbowing people out the way.
Yeah.
Do you know who I am? No.
Yeah. I spent about an hour. One thing I love to do at museums is I love to take pictures of people interacting with art. I think it's like a little hobby I have. I always bring like my camera. And so watching people take pictures of the Mona Lisa was almost more like entertaining than the Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
a little bit creepy.
A little bit. But it's fun. Like it was very sweet to see people of like all like races and backgrounds and ages like so excited to see like a piece of artwork. I think it's very sweet.
Pretty good. Yeah, I went a long time again. I don't think I would go back. We alienating more people, James, today.
Oh, we do that all the time. Every single episode, we alienate some kind of group of people.
Do you know what is interesting, though? That in Paris, they speak French. Any other countries that speak French? Canada. What's in Canada?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. You like that?
Nice segue.
That wasn't planned. It couldn't have been planned because I didn't know where you went last. So let's talk a little bit about Vancouver then. So we had the webinar yesterday.
Yes.
And I've already said this to you before we started, but the presentation was absolutely on point. You guys must rehearse. And what you don't know, right, or what you don't see is you and Chuck have the webinar up and you can see the chats coming through.
Yes.
But you don't see the chats that we have internally in the companies.
No. I wish we did.
You know what? It was brilliant because we were sat there on Teams. Other channels are available like Slack and whatever. No, we advertised Disney last time. We'll go for Microsoft now. But we had a channel going, and it was just full of chatter, people chatting and going, "Oh, I don't like that. I like that," and a big round of applause. And I'll let you guess which got the biggest eruption. There were GIFs, memes, everything flying. You can guess in a second. But it was just quite nice, this camaraderie that when you guys are presenting and going through, everyone's excited and gets involved. So I wanted to give you that bit of feedback because I'm not sure you get that. From what you
that
get if you
means
don't.
the world. Thank you for that.
And there was a statement that I did actually make to someone. I said, this is a demo masterclass for people, so pay attention.
You did say that.
So here you go. Before we get into your topics, what do you think got the biggest round of applause from our side?
I think it probably has to do with, I think by trend alone, maybe some of the AI stuff, perhaps.
No?
Was it Flow Designer? Was it my favorite? Was it Flow Designer?
You said that like a little puppy.
Because I heard a statistic the other day of how like what percentage of our customers use Flow Designer, and it was not up to my liking. So I'm always like, really? I will fight for people to use Flow Designer.
Some people still hang on to workflow. They will not let go.
Have I told you, James, what got the biggest reaction?
No.
Oh, it's a game for both of you. Come on.
I'm also presuming the go back feature.
The go back feature
has to be.
The go back.
So what's Flow Designer?
Yeah, it was Flow Designer.
Yes.
It was Flow Designer go back feature. There was a big round of applause and some gasps and.
I can't tell you how happy I was when I saw that in our release documents. I was like, oh my gosh, we're finally getting rollback for Flow Designer.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that's been waiting for a long time. And I mean, I've been on the platform like 12 years.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say this, but I can script faster than I can use Flow Designer. However, Flow Designer is more scalable. I get it and I push it and I promote it. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But that was just another kind of, okay, it's getting close to the old workflow that I love. I love my drag and droppy stuff.
Yeah, we had a great podcast episode where we discussed around the use cases of Flow Designer and what can you replace with Flow Designer.
Yeah.
Remember that, going back to that. It's like, can you replace business rules? Can you replace old workflows? Can you replace script includes maybe? Limitless possibilities with that.
Yeah. But that got a massive reaction. So well done, ServiceNow.
Oh man.
So anyway, coming to the Vancouver release with your top picks, and are you allowed to say stuff that you presented? I think you are.
Yeah, I can talk about stuff I presented. I will say, because we're only 1 day removed from it, a little inside baseball. Basically, we get a huge spreadsheet of enhancements to go off of. That's the first thing we get. We get a whole list of all the improvements for App Engine, Automation Engine platform. And then we divvy them up. So we divvy up based off our personal preference. So I take a lot of the low code and automation stuff just because I like to cheerlead for it. And so then we work with the product teams to get information on those specific things. I have not done a tremendous amount of research into my other teammates' things yet because we were so focused on our own stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's fine.
But I'm very excited to see the first dip into AI for ServiceNow. I think it's really important to say that this wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction to its current popularity. It's been something that's been in the works for quite a while. And so I think that exploring that it's in the first foray of that will be very interesting to see. And I think create even better ideas for where it could go,
So which side are you leaning towards? Are you more on the text to code or the narrative on the case stuff? You have to help me out here. But
I think it has the most immediate value with summarization. So that's always going to be the first barrier for people in work in general, is just a lot of it, right? You open something up, if it seems overly complex, you instantly go, not a priority for now. So a very easy thing that can be done is providing summaries for people. I hate sounding like a broken record. That's why I like Flow Designer, because it does summarize what that flow is doing without any human interaction.
Yeah.
So the case summary stuff, I think, will be tremendously helpful for people just to say, okay, now I know what's going on. Where can I go from there? Versus, I got to sit here and read this 20-minute document,
Do you see any Gen AI kind of interaction with, you said you're a big advocate for low code, no code, App Engine Studio. Me too, by the way. I literally just released a video out to do with the new features on that on YouTube. Plug.
I was going to say, not a plug there at all.
Yeah. Do you see more AI capabilities in that area, like suggestions for, I don't know, doing different things on a brand new UI builder portal sort of thing, or have you heard any things more in that sort of area? Because we didn't see much of that, I don't think.
The one thing we did see is Now Assist, so it's making recommendations for what to use next in Flow Designer.
Yes.
Now I'm in a different place because I know stuff that may be coming out in future store releases. I don't know if it is. So I'm like, now I'm in the same boat of like, I don't know if I can say it. But think of that at a larger scale, and I think that's a good starting point for where we're going with that.
Yeah. I like the Now Assist. You've just reminded me of the suggested next action.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing next. How's that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just keep
I think it's based off of like large data sets of other flows and like traditionally what has been proven to be most, because like it's kind of it's how there's that one saying that's like there's only like 3 types of story, it's like every book follows like one of these 3 types of story. There's a similar thing for automated workflows, right? Like every flow, it might be different tables and stuff, but they all kind of follow a similar path for the most part. I bet it's something like that. It's way over my head, though. I'm not smart enough to understand that type of stuff.
Must be clever enough to know what action the customer might like, even though we don't know ourselves.
Right? Crazy. I think one thing that if I have something to put out into the universe as something for my wish list and something that I think AI could help with is, and this is not, I will say, this is a complete guess on my part. This is not a inside baseball thing I know about. This is not something that's confirmed from Washington. I think it'd be really lovely one day if I pressed a button and it converted an existing workflow to a flow. Because I think that's another big barrier for people. It's like, well, I've spent my entire career working in workflow editor. And even if I start now, then I have to maintain them in both. I want a button that turns workflow editors into flows.
So old school. What do you just call it? Workflow, old school flow, legacy flow. That's what I call it.
Yeah, I've said old school and I've gotten my hand slapped for it. So they're like, you can't say old school because that implies it's not good. I'm like, that's not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it's the legacy version of it.
No, I like that. I like the I can't remember, it was the last release, but the select all in the flow and it turns it into a subflow. I've used that.
Heck yeah.
So it's the little things.
Yeah.
The new Flow Designer homepage with recent activity.
Yeah.
I was excited by that, and everyone's like, "What about Jenna?" I was like, "No, it's the little thing. The
little
performance improvement that's going to make me not run out of the room anymore whenever I load it."
I was so happy they didn't make me cut that joke from Tech Now, where I'm like, "Oh, now I don't have to pretend it's bad conference Wi-Fi," because I was like, "Oh, there's a chance they might be like, you can't say that." I'm like, "It was slow. That's why we made it faster."
Yeah. Do you know what I did? Was it Flow Designer? Might have been, but I did a YouTube video going back, I don't know, a year ago. And I hit the button and I went out for a run and came back and it just got me coming back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I think actually it was the plug-in load. It was that when it was.
Oh, okay.
Not flow. You're safe.
You might be safe. In the interest of time, and James, you've got to dash off, haven't you? You've got a life to go and lead. How rude of you.
I know. I'm sorry. Children.
But in the interest of time, I think what we'll move on to now is the section we like to call James's silly question. We should have a jingle. I'm going to have a jingle
there.
Yeah, you need a jingle. Gotta hire someone on Fiverr to do one for you.
We do need to do
and it is kind of linked to Vancouver in a way. James, it's your challenge to make that link. Over to you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So we know, obviously, with the releases going down the alphabet, as we know, cities and places, and not strictly always cities. So Bill McDermott has come to you for advice and said, Lauren, you're doing a great job for us, but we need to be able to name our releases post Z. So you need to come up with your own naming scheme or theme for the new releases post whatever Z is. So that's our question to you. This is our silly question. This is you can come up with whatever you like. It doesn't matter how silly it is. For instance, I think Jeremy come up with soccer teams.
Soccer teams.
Yeah.
Also, I have to ask: do I have the capacity to be sued? Like, can I pick something that's copyrighted, or does that not count?
I don't know.
Uh,
Go with whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
it's fine. It'll be fine.
If I have to name all 26, then
No. Just the general theme. So
He
it could
clearly hasn't
be
played the rules properly here.
oh, I have always said
children, it could be-
if we never could get sued for this, we should always name him after Pokemon because there's 1,001 Pokemon, and there's definitely one for each letter of the alphabet, 100%. So
yes.
you always have to go off the most difficult. Is there one for X? Yes, Zatu. Is there one for Y? Yes. Like there's tons. So yeah, just pick Pokemon or dog breeds. Dog breeds could also be good because there's some weird. I went to a dog show recently, and I'm very keen on like dog breeds. I love dog shows, and even there, I was like, "What the hell is that? I've never seen that before."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Oh, it's the Albanian, rabbit hound," and I'm like, "Okay." So
You've got a little white one that I'm sure it's been on a video. How do I know it's white if I've never seen it? Is it white?
Bonsai.
Is it
Yeah.
white? God,
He's
that's a bit
Bonsai.
creepy.
He's my little Bichon Frise. He's the best. He's very dirty right now, so he's not very white. He's more eggshell, but
He's got Bichon fruit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it. How would I know it's white otherwise?
yeah, he's in a bunch of
Pokemon.
videos and stuff.
Pokemon, that is
Pokemon. That's a good shout.
that's a good
shout.
bid. That's going to be hard.
Did you used to collect Pokemon cards? We had this big thing in the UK with Pokemon cards with like trading and
Heck yeah.
well, that's huge. That's huge. I still have my
collect them.
collection. I don't know
You
when to sell
do?
them. When do I sell them?
You should have sold them a year and a half ago because that was when they
Oh,
were like
no.
peak price.
Really?
Yeah, they went
Well, done.
bananas.
They've gone up in price now because my kids are collecting them as well. And we have
I've
to
got a
keep
shiny
them.
Charizard.
I would take that I would get that graded.
It's too late
All right,
now.
shush,
I'll wait for it to
shush.
go back up again.
You don't need them. Just give it to me. I'll give it to my kids. Don't
Yeah,
need them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
right.
give it to
I'll
one of
do it.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pokemon, though, brilliant bid. That's going to be hard to beat. That is going to be hard to beat.
I will say Nintendo is one of the most notoriously litigious companies on earth, so we might get sued if we do that, but
Yeah.
it'd be worth it. It'd be fun.
Yeah. We'll say Lauren said it. It's fine.
Last time we came on, Jeremy made a comment as well. He said, we're mentioning all the brands. Let's just throw another one in there. And he mentioned Jeep, I think it was at the time. And it made me a bit like, we don't really worry about stuff like that. Is it in the UK or the difference between the UK and US, or we just don't think
Probably.
about it going,
This is the land of the free, the home of the lawsuit. So
Yeah.
I'll be editing some of this out. Don't worry. Okay, so we're coming to the alphabet game, the world famous alphabet game.
Mm.
So let me explain the rules. And be warned, these change every time because I make it up as we go along.
oh no.
And I will remind you, you are a guest, although this is my game, so I will just make it up.
Fair enough.
Right, what's going to happen? On screen, just in case you're listening to this, you can see an A. When I hit go, it's going to go B, C, and you know how the alphabet kind of pans out, right?
Yeah.
The idea is it's going to be against the clock. And for every letter you see, Lauren, you've got to say a ServiceNow thing or phrase that relates to that letter. So, for example, A would be ACL, right? You
Yeah.
can't have ACL, I've just said it. The one thing, you're not allowed to just list versions, so you can't say Aspen, Berlin, and just go through the whole alphabet.
Fair
That's
enough.
cheating.
Yeah.
You can pass. If you pass, that's a 10-second penalty. So we'll add 10 seconds to the overall time. Or you can sit there and cogitate and think about it for a while, but the clock is going to be going.
I'm
Does that make
nervous.
sense?
Yeah.
You're feeling the pressure now, aren't
I
you?
am feeling the pressure.
Now, we have a league table of this, and there
Yeah.
are,
No.
well, probably about 4 people on, to be fair. There's not that many.
Yeah.
Who's in the lead at the minute, James? You're the keeper of all things.
Well, it's still Jace Benson. So Jace Benson was 6 minutes 28, I believe, and I think Jeremy was only about 10 seconds slower. And I think we were into 8 or 9 minutes or something because we got
Oh,
stuck
God,
on one
we were
particular
awful.
letter.
We were awful.
It was
We were
really bad.
Right. This is, and just for anyone that is listening, this is going to be a lot more dramatic when I edit it because we'll have music over the top.
Yeah, moody music. Yeah.
Right. Just for everyone's info as well, Lauren has sat forward and is
That's it.
I don't like to
Don't go up.
lose.
Right.
Those
Okay.
on sales, man. I don't like to lose.
Are you ready? James, do you
I
want to
am.
give us a countdown?
I'm on the timer and I'll count you down from 3. 3, 2, 1, go.
App Engine, Business Rule, Client script.
We're on D.
D. Pass.
You don't get extra for naming 2.
Execute or Excel download, because you can download those Excel files.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, come on.
We'll
That counts. That
It's
counts.
my game. I
Just
get to allow
about.
it or not. Go on. We'll allow it.
But fine. Employee service portal.
Fair play.
F.
Oh, come on, Lauren. Come on.
If you're able.
I know. G. GraphQL.
Nice.
That's nerdy. No.
H. Oh my god, this is difficult.
Extra point for nerdy answers.
You get nerd points.
Nerd.
And
It doesn't get your
reduce time if you can get a Vancouver
I'm
thing.
struggling. Wait. Why did you skip H?
Going back.
Sorry.
I'm struggling with H.
Wanna pass?
Oh wait, no. Homepage editor. Homepage. Homepage something.
You can have
Yeah.
homepage.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Integration hub. J. Oh, JavaScript editor. JavaScript. I mean, it's a JavaScript-based platform.
Yeah,
K.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Oh God, what starts with a K? I would say Kingston, but that doesn't count.
We didn't
K.
get points for trying, do we? Ooh.
Did other people get K?
A load of people got
Yeah.
K.
It's
So I'll give you a clue. A process. There's lots of modules.
I don't know. Passed. I don't know.
Lauren, you even presented at one of these in May.
Keynote? Does that count?
You can have keynote. You can have knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, go for
Lauren,
it.
then for L, because I'm relevant to service
Go on, then.
Macros. Nodes for
Yeah, go on.
yeah.
Here's a question. Do you think Chuck could beat you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Operating system. No, I'm kidding. Okay, fine.
Oh, what are we doing? I'm confused. Are we on P? Are we on O?
I'm let you tell me if they count or not. P. Process automation designer. Pad.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, Q.
Oh Jesus. Q.
Doesn't count. Can't say Quebec.
No, I
You're doing good on
know.
time, by the way.
Q.
You're not allowed to say question or answer table either now because I've just said it.
Oh, hey. I think I'll have to skip Q. I don't think there is one.
Q?
That's
Okay.
easy. Rest. Oh, wait, yeah, rest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Service portal.
Yeah.
Table builder.
Excellent. You.
You.
I'm not gonna lie. This is when it starts getting hard. This is when the music's gonna
This
creep.
is where the
in.
time goes.
Hang on. Users.
Could have had UI builder.
UI build. B. Good under pressure. I'm not good under pressure.
B.
Version control. Version control.
Go on, I'll allow it. We'll allow it.
I feel like I'm just saying general programmy words, but they
That's
are
all right.
they are relative to ServiceNow. W. Workflow editor. The cursed workflow editor. XML.
That's
Nice,
good. That's
nice.
quicker than most people get that one.
Yep,
This
this
one.
is good.
This one
Why?
gets you
Good luck.
minus 30 seconds. I'll take 30 seconds off.
Does
of
it?
it.
Why are we adding this rule in?
Well, we had it last time. Jeremy
Yeah.
had 30
Well,
seconds. Why can't I give it
Did
to
he
you?
pass? I can't remember if Jeremy passed.
Why?
What did he say?
Um,
No, he didn't.
oh, I know what he
didn't.
said.
I know what he said.
We got a
I
short
gave
with
him
it.
the answer, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
You reckon I've talked long enough to confuse Lauren a bit?
I mean, y'all are distracting me enough.
I know. That's what we're here for.
Why? Try to think of even words that start with Y. I'm dropping the ball.
I could be the new presenter of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, couldn't I? They're annoying as well.
I don't know. I'll pass because it's been longer than 10 seconds now.
Okay.
And now my mind's a blank for Z.
That's the reaction we wanted.
Yeah. I don't know. Pass for Z as well. I just want.
That's the Z. Stop the clock.
I need the pain to be over. Hopefully, I didn't do too embarrassingly. I'm just not good under pressure. Like playing me in categories is just a bloodbath. I'm awful at it.
James, what are the scores on the doors? Where does that phrase come from? Don't know. Go for it.
Which one came up with why for last week?
Jeremy, after prompting, came up with the word yes. It was all over your knowledge. It was the key.
Oh, criminy. That's. I mean, he's right. It was part of the branding.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a reach, but we allowed it.
We allowed it.
Okay.
That's fair.
Well, how did you do?
Probably pretty bad.
There was 5 passes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you've even noted down passes. This is brilliant.
I know.
This
Let me tell you, it's close.
Okay.
It's close for the top. So
Okay.
you did it.
I did?
Now, without 5... Whoa. When I stopped the clock, without taking the passes into consideration, you got 5 minutes 13. But with the 5 passes, which is 10 seconds each, 50 seconds on top, that's 6 minutes and 3 seconds, meaning you beat Jace by about 20 seconds.
Ooh.
Congratulations, Lauren, you know.
Yeah. I will say, though, you get Chuck on here, he'll dust everybody. Or Earl, probably. They're both masters. Or Pranav.
No. Do you know how I think how I think you did so well on that? It's one because I think you're brilliant.
Because you were very lenient.
Yeah, no, because I think she was clever with the passes. Most people refuse to.
That's true. Most people ignore the passes and think for ages.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because you have to have enough humility to pass. If it's I'm serious though, because I'm like, okay, if it's a 10-second penalty, if I'm going to take more than 10 seconds, it's more worthy to pass.
That's it.
Have you calculated how long it would be if you passed every single one of them?
Don't do that.
We're hoping someone
the game.
But I'm saying that should be a rule, because if I'm gaming the system now, 10 seconds. If I passed every single one of them.
Has it really come to this where you're
I'm just saying, you said you made the rules. If you pass every single one of them, I think you beat the record.
I think we entrust our guests enough to try and get involved.
This is it.
That's fair.
We just won't publish the episode.
We'll just edit
just
it
cut the
all
spit
out.
out. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Do you want to mark the clip again, James?
Yep. And remove.
Okay.
Wait, what do people say for Z as well?
Z-boot.
Z-boot, yeah.
Oh, the band and the process.
Yeah.
You went band first.
Well, I do see the band more frequently than I use the process.
Okay.
Okay, Lauren, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining in on our silly game, our silly question. But most of all, thanks for coming and sharing with us your Vancouver tips and around your views and how you got to become a dev advocate. So it just remains me to say, and let's see if Lauren gets this time. Have you watched? Have you listened to this before? Do you know what we're going to do?
I don't.
You're looking worried.
No,
my brain is so mushy from doing the tech now prep. I apologize.
This might go wrong then.
Let's try it anyway. Right.
Yeah.
So thanks. We'll see you next time. Until then, I've been Russ.
I've been James.
And I've been Lauren.
And this is Service Ducks.